Bluey is full of fun and adorable moments, but it also has scenes that truly tug at your heartstrings. In fact, some of these moments are so moving that it's impossible to hold back the tears. For example, let's recall a deeply emotional moment between Bluey and her younger sister Bingo. While the two sisters are very close, they have faced their share of challenges. One such instance happened in the episode Butterflies, where the sisters are playing with their neighbor, Judo, in the backyard. Everything seemed fine until Bingo was chosen to play the role of the cocoon during their game. However, instead of waiting for her, Judo, the girl's neighbor, convinces Bluey to leave Bingo behind and play somewhere else without telling her. When Bingo emerges from the cocoon and finds no one there, she goes to the front yard and sees Bluey and Judo playing a different game. She tries to join them, but once again, she's ignored. This breaks her little heart. Her teary eyes say it all as she quietly returns to the cocoon, visibly upset. The moment becomes even more poignant when Bluey realizes what she has done. Consumed by guilt, she begins to cry as well. Seeing the two sisters so heartbroken is truly gut-wrenching. But the story ends on a hopeful note as they make up and learn a valuable lesson about empathy and forgiveness together. Today, we're diving into the 10 saddest moments in Bluey. So grab some tissues. Let's explore more of this incredible world of the Australian blue pup. Bluey is a series that knows how to touch our hearts, especially when it comes to goodbyes. One of the most unforgettable moments occurs in the episode where Bluey meets Jean-Luc, an adorable Canadian pup who only speaks French. They form a beautiful friendship during the Heeler family vacation. But Jean-Luc knew his time there was limited. Sadly, due to the language barrier, Jean-Luc couldn't tell Bluey he was leaving. The next morning, when Bluey excitedly runs to play with her new friend, she finds him gone. Later, her mom, Chili, explains that she saw Jean-Luc's family packing up and leaving. Still too young to fully understand what happened, Bluey feels devastated. She retreats to a quiet spot and lets her tears fall. This moment is deeply moving, showing how hard it can be to lose a friend. Despite the sadness, the episode ends with a message of hope. Years later, Bluey and Jean-Luc reunite at the very spot where they played together, beneath the tree they planted during one of their games. Another heart-wrenching moment for any Bluey fan occurs at the end of the third season. In the episode Ghost Basket, the Heeler family decides to sell their house, which means Bluey and her family are moving away. In the trailer for this 28-minute finale episode, we see Bluey looking sad and withdrawn as her classmates react with shock to the news. The scene where Bluey announces her departure is one of the most emotional moments in the entire series. The sadness also hits Mackenzie, who clearly feels the pain of losing his friend. This farewell promises to be one of the most iconic and heart-wrenching moments in Bluey's history. It will undoubtedly leave a lasting impression on fans and the Heeler family alike. What about you? Which of these moments touched your heart the most so far? Share your thoughts in the comments by writing feelings if any of these scenes moved you as well. Another deeply emotional episode of Bluey is Onesies, when the girls meet Aunt Brandy. Brandy, Chili's sister, hadn't seen the family in 4 years, and the reason behind her absence isn't explicitly explained in the episode. During a playful moment when Bingo pretends to be a leopard hunting everyone, there's a poignant dialogue between Chili and Bluey that plays out as we watch Brandy interact with Bingo. At that moment, Chili explains that some things in life don't go as planned, and it's nobody's fault. This reflection carries a powerful emotional weight, especially as we see Brandy lying down, deep in thought, while Bingo continues playing joyfully. We come to understand that Brandy's dream was always to become a mother. Unfortunately, despite her efforts, she was never able to fulfill that wish. There's nothing more heartbreaking than having a dream that seems out of reach. Because of this frustration, Brandy chose to stay away for years, as seeing Chili with her daughters was a painful reminder of what she couldn't have. Understanding Brandy's pain gives us insight into the depth of themes that Bluey explores. These moments touch anyone's heart. And speaking of Brandy, there's an exciting development that could be explored in future stories. Bingo is one of Bluey's most cheerful characters, but she is also incredibly sensitive. This becomes evident in the episode Yoga Ball, where Bandit plays some intense games with his 4-year-old daughter. Unintentionally, Bandit goes too far with some of these games, causing discomfort and even pain for little Bingo. Being 2 years younger than Bluey, she's smaller and less resilient, which makes these interactions more challenging for her. Eventually, Bingo steps away to cry by herself, as that's the only way she knows how to express her feelings. Watching this scene is incredibly moving, as it's easy to empathize with the little red Heeler. After all, she's just a child, still learning to communicate and manage her emotions. With Chili's help, Bingo is able to open up to Bandit and explain how she feels. Bandit, in turn, apologizes and learns that he needs to adjust his games to respect the differences in age and endurance between his two daughters. This scene teaches an incredible lesson about how every child is unique and needs to be treated accordingly. Even with the positive ending, seeing Bingo so sad was deeply emotional for me. Loneliness is a feeling we've all experienced, or will at some point. In Bluey, this theme is handled delicately in the episode Space, where Mackenzie shares an abandonment experience from his childhood. The story begins with Mackenzie, still a pup, sliding down a playground slide and believing his mom left him behind. In reality, it was all a misunderstanding. She was right behind him. Even so, the belief that he was abandoned left a deep mark on the little pup. This trauma continued to affect him for years, making him feel lonely even when playing with friends. Calypso, his teacher, played a key role in helping him process these feelings and see reality differently. This revelation about Mackenzie's feelings creates a strong connection with the character. Understanding how he faced this pain makes the episode incredibly touching and reminds us of the importance of providing emotional support to those we care about. Some Bluey episodes tackle deeply emotional topics, such as death. A powerful example is the episode Copycat, where Bluey imitates everything Bandit does. During their game, father and daughter come across a small bird lying injured on the ground. They take the bird to a veterinary clinic in an attempt to save it. Unfortunately, the vet delivers sad news: the little bird didn't survive. Bluey returns home and seeks comfort in her mother's arms, who is ready to help her process this difficult situation. For a 6-year-old, understanding that bad things can happen is incredibly challenging. Chili explains that, sadly, we can't always save the helpless animals we encounter. This moment is so impactful that anyone who has lost a pet can deeply relate to Bluey's feelings. The pain of this experience shows how Bluey sensitively addresses themes that resonate with both adults and children. Truly, an episode that makes us reflect on the fragility of life and how to cope with loss. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our amazing videos about Bluey, her family, and friends. Still on the topic of babies, we know that Bluey is an amazing show because of how it addresses sensitive topics in a discreet yet profound way. One deeply emotional example is found in the episode Baby Race, which highlights one of the most touching and significant moments in the history of the Healer family. In this episode, Chili feels like a bad mom because Bluey took longer than other kids to start walking. Two specific moments stand out here, capable of melting the heart of any fan. The first is when Coco's mom, Bella, visits Chili. Sensing Chili's guilt and insecurities, Bella consoles her in a deeply moving way, saying that Chili is an amazing mom despite her doubts. These words are incredibly touching and, honestly, brought tears to my eyes. The moment when the two share a hug is extraordinary. This simple yet powerful act of emotion demonstrates the profound connection between mothers, highlighting that, even in moments of self-doubt, Chili has always been a figure of love and support for Bluey. For me, this episode was an emotional masterpiece. Shortly after, the episode delivers one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire series, the moment when Bluey finally takes her first steps. She walks toward Chili, who is standing in the kitchen. This scene is so perfectly constructed that even the background music feels like an integral part of the shared emotion between mother and daughter. Watching this scene, it's impossible not to feel deeply moved. It marks a significant milestone for the Healer family and the narrative of the series. I must admit, as I watched, I was still processing the heartfelt conversation between Chili and Bella, but this moment was the final touch that brought tears to my eyes. Bluey has a special way of blending music and storytelling to create these absolutely perfect, unforgettable moments. Returning to the theme of babies, another deeply touching moment appears in the episode Mother's Day. In this story, Bluey and Bingo prepare a special presentation to show how Bandit and Chili met and eventually got married. The story is lighthearted but carries profound meaning when you understand the context. In one part of the play, the girls reenact Chili's first pregnancy. Bingo uses a small balloon to represent the baby in their mom's belly, but at one point, the balloon pops. This subtle detail is accompanied by a reaction from the parents that reveals something many fans might not have noticed on their first watch. Bluey wasn't the Healer's first baby. Bandit places his hand over Chili's in a gesture filled with meaning. You can see the pain on her face as she recalls this loss, an incredibly touching moment that shows how the series handles topics like grief with sensitivity and care. Bluey is considered a rainbow baby because she brought joy after such a challenging time. And that's exactly why we love this show so much. Bluey isn't just an animation, it's an experience full of lessons and emotions. If you haven't watched it yet, we highly recommend it. To get started, here are 2 videos for you to enjoy right now. Both are amazing, so pick either one, you'll love it.